I'm Cathy Applefeld Olson. I'm the founder of Hollywood in Mind.
Can you tell me a little bit about your own mental health advocacy journey?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me, Michael. I appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you. My mental health advocacy journey has really been the coalescence of a few things. Above all, is my deep belief in the importance of recognizing the beauty of our humanity, our
Yeah.
uniqueness, what makes us individual humans, and celebrating that, celebrating what makes each of us unique. And I believe strongly that mental health is really a part of all of our lives. And this is something that's always been a part of me. I'll say it certainly came even more to the fore when I became a mom. I'm the mom of two amazing young women. Olivia is 26 and Jacqueline is 24. And I think, as many parents do, we think about the world that we're living in and the way,
Yeah.
the way to shape that world and better, celebrate uniqueness certainly, came more into focus with me. Um, Beyond that, I am a veteran entertainment industry journalist, and I have had really the privilege for years, for decades actually, of speaking with various people of influence across the industry and really knowing, to my core, the power of entertainment and media to affect change. And so those two things together, really sort of coalesced in what led me to really focus on the importance of mental health and sort of what my role could be.
Yeah, with your role, what inspired you to create Hollywood in Mind?
So that also is kind of a few different things coming together. The first one would be the countless conversations that I've had over the years with celebrities, with people of influence, with people in the industry, across music and film, and digital television, really the whole industry, and how often our conversation would come around to a mental health topic. I would say up until relatively recently, that was usually off the record when the
Right.
tape stopped rolling, when the recorder was off, but how often we did end up talking about that. And again, knowing that these people have influence to change things, also knowing that many of these people were not, maybe not in the best state, in the best state of mental wellness themselves. So I started thinking about that. I also, as I said, just being very aware of our mental health and our uniqueness. And then, Hollywood Mind is relatively new. Then the data started coming in around the beginning of the pandemic, right? That things were,
Yeah.
I very aware that we have a global mental health crisis. This crisis is getting worse, and the data started showing up differently. More people reporting, more things going on in that sense. I launched a column because this is my go-to, right? I'm a media person. I launched a column in Forbes, which is called Mind Reading. We're in year 4, where I interview people about their mental health journeys, people of influence. So I've interviewed music artists, I've interviewed actors, I interviewed Michael Phelps. We just put up a column with Busy Phillips about their mental health stories because I very strongly believe, this is a 365, 24/7 conversation to be had, not only on October 10th, not only in the month of May, but we could continue to share that. And when I launched that column in early summer of 2020, I had already sort of, again, had these different seeds in my head of what was going to become Hollywood Mind, but it was incredible to me. The phone started ringing, my email started popping, the different people that reached out from all different sort of walks of these sectors to talk about, it became very clear to me very quickly that the column was amazing and I'm still, was still doing that, but that something else also could be done. And mental health organizations, people across all sectors of the industry, that there are a lot of mental health organizations, right? There are a lot of different
Yeah.
initiatives going on in the industry. What didn't exist was kind of a command central, a central hub
Yeah.
to connect all of those dots. And so that's what we really needed. And so I hit go on Hollywood in Mind, and I always refer to us as a big tent where everyone is welcome to come in. We include sports and media and brand under our umbrella. We're really about entertainment and people and sectors of influence, because again, that's the way kind of that door can open. So that's how we got started, and it's just been an amazing journey over the past 4 years.
I like how you said that with you're like the command center, because I've seen things where you've worked with NAMI, which is a big mental health nonprofit, the CEO, and then Hollywood stars like Marlon Wayans. I saw you've done an event with. How does it feel for you to connect all these missions together?
It feels amazing. I had conversations again with a lot of different people before I really hit go. And what I realized was, I mean, I'm a doer, right? So that we can talk and talk is important, but someone's got to hit go and actually, start doing this. And it feels incredible. I feel grateful every day for the ability to connect these dots. Our friends at NAMI have actually said, they tend to say Hollywood Mind has like the sparkle factor, right? And we do have the
Yeah.
sparkle. We've had people on our stages ranging from Demi Lovato to Mike Posner to Marlon Wayans to Kyler Lee, Dr. Orna from couples therapy. We've had quite a few very, very big names on our stages. But I always think the sparkle is not any good without the substance. And we
Yeah.
100% center mental health at everything we do. So I'm sure you and many people who might be listening to our conversation here have been to events where there's an A-list celebrity speaking about something and there might not be a connection, right? Like it's great to have the name, it's great to have the person in the room, but we're all about like what is that substance? We ground everything in mental health. So the conversations that these folks tend to have on our stages are, it's an overused word, but really authentic, really different. And it's wonderful to have the mental health organizations and mental health professionals in the room. A lot of times our different panels and sessions are led by mental health professionals. We always start there. We're not just an adjacency, like we're not an entertainment event that has something on mental health. We are 100% mental health throughout.
With your years in the entertainment industry, have you seen the stigma of just talking about mental health lessening in Hollywood?
Yeah, I would say that we are Hollywood. I would say the entertainment industry and really all of these industries are on the right path. I mean, certainly there have been some major initiatives launched. Certainly there's more conversation. There are things happening. I would also say there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
I think that there have been some big initiatives. There have been some patchwork things. Sometimes the work gets done in smaller conversations that don't get announced in press releases, that things are happening there. I think that, well, here's what I know to be true. I know that the industry is filled with a lot of people who really do care. There's not a doubt in my mind. I've been immersed in this industry, as I said, for decades. What I also know is this is an industry that runs on human capital, right? It's a business that revolves around human beings. Human beings who go on tour, human beings who are in the middle of producing a television series, human beings who are operating at every level. And it's not just the people we see on screens and on stage. It's the whole industry, right? It's the people behind the scenes. So human capital is different from an industry that creates like products. It's different.
Yeah.
We're based completely on people. And so when the humans are not okay, the wheels start to fall off. And, again, I think the pandemic, and certainly the strike and I think everything that happened across the television industry really illuminated that. So yes, I think there's conversations around break. I think we're on the right path. I think there is still quite a long way to go. I'll also mention the entertainment industry and entertainers and creators and people who are in the arts over index on neurodiversity. And thank God they do, because otherwise we don't get the beautiful music, we don't
Yeah.
get the performance, we don't get those scripts that touch our souls. So I'm all about not just acceptance of neurodiversity, not just like support. I want to get to celebration of neurodiversity, right? Because neurodiversity is really what makes the entertainment industry and a lot of these other places, that's what makes these people able to do what they do. So I think that's important.
5 years ago, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder too, and the first thing I went to is Wikipedia and Google or searching celebrities with bipolar disorder, because if I heard a celebrity has something and they're succeeding in life, that's going to make me feel better. How does it feel for you to be helping others, amplifying the mental health mission?
So what you just said is exactly that is our core. Thank you, Michael. That is exactly what we do. So the reason that Hollywood in Mind, Hollywood in Mind is based entirely on the truth that there is no business like show business. There
Yeah,
is no one, there's no sector, the mental health industry doesn't have it, the medical industry doesn't have it. There's no other um, group, there's no other industry that has the attention and the excitement and of people around the world. So I think you are like so many that the first place we go is we look to see how are famous people, who's famous that has what I have,
right.
who's
Yeah.
famous that has my diagnosis, so that really is the core of Hollywood in Mind. We are focused very, very equally on both sides of a very interconnected coin. And on one side of that coin is the incredible power of Hollywood and the sports industry and media and brand to emanate out into the popular culture, right? How can we help elevate the way these industries are affecting mental health through storytelling, through conversations one-on-one
Yeah.
with people, with people of influence, people with a platform, and then very, very equally on the other side of that coin is the care and keeping of the people in the industry. So going
Yes.
all the way back to the conversations that I had, when I was interviewing so many. So if the industry is not well, if the people aren't well, then nothing works, right? So we're very focused on both, and that's kind of another bit of our secret sauce is the people that we bring together. That our community is really our key, right? So we have artists and creators and advocates and activists and executives and the mental health organizations, everyone together to figure out how both of those things can align. And our conversations and everything that we're working toward is really focused on that. So we're centered around kind of three core principles, and they are community, collaboration, and creation. Community and connection is really our main one. We're very events based. We do an annual summit in May. UTA came in very early as a presenting partner for our annual summit, which, that was a moment where I thought, oh yeah, we really, we need this. And big shout out to the team at the UTA Foundation. They came in and said, we would love to be the presenting partner here. We're happy to host it on our campus. And that's a full day where this past May, we had sessions on mental health storytelling. We had a session on mental health and comedy. Again, looking at the ability for comedy to break barriers and break stigma,
Yes.
but also what's it like to be a comedian, especially in our age of cancel culture. What is the mental health of the comedians? We had a session on sports and athletes. We had the co-owner of an NFL franchise. We had a WNBA player, so that's a full day to look through a lot of different topics and where that intersection of mental health and the entertainment industry is. And then we also have a spotlight platform of events that, as the name would suggest, shine a light on a particular topic. So we launched our spotlight events to coincide with Health and Human Services putting out the advisory on our crisis of loneliness. Again, 86 page advisory. My guess is most people didn't read it. I will admit I didn't get through everything, but I read most of it. And we thought, wouldn't it be nice to gather, how can the industry come in? How can we sort of get a coalition together to look at that? So we brought Tiffany Haddish, California First partner Jennifer Newsom, Rachel Platten, the music artist, and several others came together for that event, which was incredible. We've had a spotlight event on Black representation in Hollywood. That's when I did my fireside with Marlon Wayans. And we're coming back on January 28th with our second annual Grammy Week Spotlight, which is specifically shining a light on mental health in the music industry. We are expanding out of Hollywood. We did our first event in New York on the
Oh,
eve of World Mental Health Day. Our friends at Publicis Group hosted a beautiful conversation about how a celebrity platform can, in fact, affect scalable, sustainable change. And we had a pop singer, we had a major label representative, and we had a representative from the New York City Department of Education. So we're all about that. You know.
what do you do to help your own mental health?
That's a good question. Always a journey, but there are a few things I've been pretty consistent with. I start every day with a gratitude practice. That's something I've been doing for years. it's a game changer for anyone listening, watching. If you aren't doing a gratitude practice, I cannot recommend it highly enough. This does not have to be something super complicated. It can be a word, it can be a thought, it can be it can just be, I'm thankful that it's not raining out today. Maybe you're thankful it is raining, whatever that looks like. But I do a gratitude practice. I also every year center 3 words that I have my gratitude practice, and then I sort of focus in on 3 words. I mix them up every year as needed. My words this year are balance, presence, and agility. So I start my days with a very purposeful and mindful practice. I try to move my body. I work out. I do yoga. I'm pretty extroverted, but I'm also aware when I need time to myself. So I try to honor that. I try to put out positivity. Um, and I do breath work. I also, I'm also aware that sometimes, all of this sounds really good. Starting your own company and running your own company, it's not easy to do every day.
Right. Yeah.
Right? We're all human. But I try to keep things in balance, as best as I can.
And earlier in the conversation, you talked about your daughters, but what have you learned from them?
Oh, wow. Huh, what a great question. Everything. My daughters are my North Stars, for everything. I've learned patience, which is not always my strong suit. I have learned to amp up my curiosity even more. There's so much to learn all the time. I'm learning so much from them. I feel like there's a certain sweet spot where, not that I'm not still guiding them on things, that's a lifetime parental thing, but there's definitely a moment where I think a lot of parents realize, wow, I'm now learning more from my kids, maybe, than I'm teaching them, and I love that. I have learned that the world anything I can do to make the world a better place, right? And I've learned to lean into their passions, and just and more gratitude. It's incredibly gratifying being their mom.
And you have done some amazing things in the media industry. What made you fall in love with it?
So, it's funny. I don't know as much if it was love at first sight or I fell into it in a way. I moved out to LA,
Right.
but I do love it. I moved out. Some things are just kismet, right? Some things are just meant to be. I went to journalism school, and pretty much everyone I graduated with at the time was going to work for a local newspaper, because that's what you did then, right? You
Yeah.
you got your degree in journalism, you went out, you hit the field. I knew that I didn't want to do that, which I always tell people is just as important as knowing what you want to do. I knew that wasn't my thing. So my internship in college was great in showing me that that is exactly what I did not want to do with my career. So I moved out to LA with no job. And I guess I typed my applications on a typewriter at the time, dating myself. And I got my first job at the Hollywood Reporter, which was amazing. And
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, this will be, this should be. I mean, I was always intrigued. I was always a media. I was always interested in entertainment, always a music lover. But I hadn't necessarily thought that's where I was going. And it's everything just clicked, and I love the industry. I think it's an industry full of creatives. I love that. I'm in awe of creative people. I love storytelling. I love hearing their stories, and it's been a pretty beautiful thing since then.
Where do you want to see Hollywood in mind in the next 3 to 5 years?
So next 3 to 5 years, let's see. I think more events, more gatherings.
Yeah.
We again are about who's in our room. We're not necessarily. I'm not necessarily looking to have a Hollywood in Mind event for tens of thousands of people, although I won't rule that out. So I think we'll be having more events, diving into specific things. I am working on some collaborations to deliver resources to the industry, that other side of the coin, to help people in the industry, help the industry help itself a little bit better, working on that. I've got a couple of exciting media projects in the works that will allow us to amplify Hollywood and Mind's message even more broadly, what that looks like out in the world of our own media. And another goal of mine is to bring Hollywood in Mind. We'll always be rooted in Hollywood, but bring Hollywood in Mind out of Hollywood and around the
Yeah.
country. That will definitely happen before 3 years. We've got some things in the works with that, but I think it's important to bring these conversations into other markets, other
Yeah.
cities, and to really bring what we do and not say you don't have to come to us, like we're going to come to you. So.
How can people reach out and learn more?
Oh yeah, our door is always open, and we would love, our community is growing beautifully. We would love to hear from more people. So our Instagram site is Hollywood And Mind, at Hollywood And Mind on Instagram. But even better, our website is hollywood-mind.com. Check it out. You will learn a lot about our mission, a lot about our impact, ways to join the community, ways to reach me. And we are always looking for strong, aligned partners. I'll put in another plug for our Grammy event, which is coming up January 28th in LA. Anyone interested in working with us on that, we're really excited. Last year's event was great, and we're looking to move in there. But again, we also, beyond our events, are working on a lot of interesting things, resources, media, and just other ways to collaborate and bring the conversation forward. It's been really gratifying to me that some really, we say we have action-oriented conversations. And what I'm working on now is piecing together sort of a report about the impact that we've already had, because things do happen after our events. We always do a nice reception. I think once people hear these conversations and realize who they might be sitting next to, right? It might be Dan Gillison, the CEO of NAMI.
Yep.
It might be the head of brand at Sony Music. It might be a music artist, who we had some artists on in our audience, on our event on the eve of World Mental Health that I didn't even know were going to be there, that stood up and started talking. So at one of at our first summit, we had leadership from the Mental Health Storytelling Coalition. And they are all about, they do a really beautiful job of guidance and research and data around sharing mental health stories through script on screen. And we also had an executive from the Kids Mental Health Foundation. Well, the two of them got together at our reception afterwards and realized that there was no vertical for the Mental Health Storytelling Coalition for children. They kind of stopped at the teen years. And so from that conversation and that day, there is now a full vertical, full guidance for kids. So I just, that's just an example, but it makes me, it's incredibly, incredibly gratifying, like the immediate action steps, and then the action steps that are a little longer term, that have arisen out of this incredible community.